everybody, welcome back. This time I'm coming at you with a complete game template for Unreal Engine 5.6 and 5.7. A brief overview is this is the widget testing area. This is the mount system. This is the interactables testing area. And this is the NPC and save testing area. I've already got the documentation done for the mounts, so we're just going to do a crash course on this tutorial to kind of get the ball rolling. It's a little bit late in the evening. So, here goes. Here is the boat mount. The boat mount has to have an exit for the boat exit. You'll find all of that in the RPG kit, and then go into the blueprints folder and you'll find boat mount and boat mount exit. You'll find the same with the minecart. It's called a vehicle mount. I just used a minecart because it was easy to make in Blender. You'll find that in the same folder, the blueprints folder, with vehicle mount, bottom last one, vehicle ride, and vehicle exit. This is a cutscene mount, the same as the boat mount, and the other one is going to be, the last cutscene mount is going to be the eagle, the bird. It's called the flying mount. You'll find it in the blueprints folder. Oh, I guess I've added a couple more cutscene mounts. Sorry, it's a little bit late. So flying mount right here, and flying mount, it's got CS at the end for cutscene mount, and it functions the same way. You run up to this trigger box and it triggers the mount, and then it sets this camera active. You're possessing the pawn, and it follows this spline to the flying mount exit. Right here. And let's go ahead and do the land mount. It functions the same way, except you're controlling a character on the ground with all the input and everything. It's going to be in this folder, but it also functions the same way. And you have to have the land mount exit, which you'll find right over here. And the newest addition that has been added is the Flight Master. The Flight Master has two flight paths. He controls two eagles, and when you walk up to this collision box right here around him, it will trigger a widget, at which point you'll be able to select where you want to fly to. This guy will send you to the interactables testing area or to the NPC and save testing areas. With that said, let's jump right in and try a few of them out. The water is kinda cheap, you can run on it. I did that so that you didn't have to have a plugin enabled to start using this template, but it looks fine. And the newest addition is going to be the Flight Master. You run up, he waves to you, you get your mount, and you can scroll through. Let's go check out the interactable test area. So this area is actually going to be for a different tutorial. For now, I want to go over the blueprints on the mounts just a little bit more. And let's start off with the boat mount. Edit blueprint. So the boat mount functions by sending a boat mesh across the spline. Here's your boat, here's your spline, here's your distance. This is what resets it at the end of the vehicle has to go back to the beginning, and once it's stopped moving, then it's going to trigger off a false bool, and it's going to tell everything to reset. You can set your speed right here on your set speed value. You can go faster or slower, whatever you prefer. Here is your collision, which grabs your player character and sets off a chain of events ranging from hiding your character and camera fades and jumping in vehicle and playing sounds and disabling your character input. It functions by actually hiding your character. Your character is going to be standing right here the whole time, just hidden, and then you're looking through the camera as it goes through a spline right here. And then on the exit, your character is going to be summoned, teleported to this little red arrow right here. Let's look at that just a little bit more in depth. So on the collision, it's going to check for the boat ride. On begin overlap and on end overlap, it's going to reset. It's checking for the boat ride only on collision, and when it begins playing, it grabs your player character and teleports it to this red arrow right here, labeled player spawn. And this is getting your location to that red arrow. Almost all of the mounts function the same way. The difference is like input and your abilities to swivel the camera and stuff. And oh, this one has something slightly different, so let's look at it. Let's look at the vehicle ride. On the vehicle ride, there's construction script, and that construction script is adding a mesh to your spline. It's calculating how long it is, it's multiplying the distance, and adding a mesh to right here. If you want to change your mesh, you can do it by highlighting Add Mesh Spline Component, and right here you can change your mesh. A good trick with this one is to actually clear out your mesh while you work with the spline if it's a long distance, because then it doesn't have to calculate as much, and it works just a little bit faster. The eagle functions almost the same way as the boat, except there's a difference in how the animations are handled. To be more new person friendly, new dev friendly, this does not use an animation blueprint or montages or anything like that. when you highlight the flying mount itself, there's flying and sleeping, and both of them play a constant animation. Like, if I was to go to flying and set visible, it's actually sitting there flying, but it's set invisible so the player can't see it, and that's all going to be handled right here. Sleeping mesh and flying mesh, the same things you see in the top left of the screen. When it begins, it's going to set sleeping to not visible, and it's going to set flying to visible, and then it's going to carry through with the camera fades and the sounds and continuous sounds and all that. The initial sound is a sound 2D, and the continuous sound is a sound component. It summons your character, has your camera fade, and that pretty well covers it. Next up is going to be the land mount. Let's take a look at this guy right quick. The land mount is extremely similar, except it has player input right here. And if you import it into another project, you may have to convert it to enhanced input action. I've ran into that problem before, but then after that it plugs right in. You have to have an X and Y value, and so this one actually summons another mount once you've grabbed one. It's right here under spawning new mount. It's checking for the player, it's doing once, and a 25-second delay to spawn a new BP land mount. This one also uses visibility with fixed animations, animation assets, and I think that pretty well covers that one. Oh, and before we jump over to the Flight Master, I'd like to take a look at this boat right quick. So, if you look really close, when it's playing, you'll notice that it's got kind of a rock to it. That's actually being simulated, and I'm going to show you how right quick. It's not actually rocking. Once the event starts, it's going to stop and follow the spline, but this is it right here. You can change how aggressive the waves are, the wave patterns with these LERPs and timelines. And that should pretty well cover it. There's more information on the asset pack itself. That's everything. And so next up is going to be Flight Masters. These are kind of tricky. They're also in the asset. I've only migrated them once, and I can't give much good information on them. I've migrated them from this to the asset pack on Fab, and so let's jump right into it. So the Flight Master is going to be the same as the flying mount for the most part. A key difference is going to be that when you pick a flight path, it's setting which camera is active. One is for flight path 1, one is for flight path 2. And it's the same thing down below. One is for flight path 1, one is for flight path 2. And another big key difference is right here. Camera is shared, you invert it the same way, covered in the documentation. And the event tick is promoted to a variable and sent off to both flight path 1 and flight path 2. Same with event begin play. It's set up as a special event instead of having huge noodles going all across this fine blueprint here. So on event begin overlap, it's the same with the mounts itself. On end overlap, it's going to have a 1 second delay and reset. The do once, we're grabbing our player ref up here, and then we're playing an animation. That's the waving that you saw him do. And then we're creating a Flight Master ref right here. This one is Flight Master 2. And there are 2 events bound to the widget, which we are making right here. And that's triggering off flight path 1 or flight path 2. And then there's a delay to set the flight master himself back to an idle animation. When we end overlap, it's removing the widget from the parent, the flight master, and it's showing your mouse cursor as false. So it's removing the mouse cursor and setting your input mode back to game only. So with that out of the way, let's look at the widget itself, which we're going to go much more in depth about a little bit later. I've put a lot of pride into this, and I can't wait to show it off. It's probably going to be in the next tutorial. But in your VLGS RPG kit, go to Widgets, and go to Flight Master Widgets. This one was Flight Master 2, so you'll notice it looked a little bit different than when we were playtesting, and I can't wait to go into this a little bit more. But this is the widget right here, and when we start the event, it's showing your mouse cursor, so it's handling that in the widget itself, and it's setting your input mode to game and UI. That's handled inside of the widget. And when we on-click exit, it's removing from the parent, and that's a duplicate show mouse cursor. I need to get rid of one of those. And it's setting your input mode back to game only with your player controller. So on flight path 1, when you click it, it's calling flight path 1, and on flight path 2, when you click that button, it's calling flight path 2. And I just noticed something. You'll probably notice that the text is different too from when we were playtesting, and I'll go into depth about that in the next tutorial. This one's going on about 20 minutes, and I hope you guys found this useful, and I can't wait to see you in the next one. Bye.